This is speaking of the choir. When you're the author of your own life book, truly your own author, right? Which means you're a free spirit that is in that love, that is in that light, because you're on fire. You're the author of your own timeline when you're at timeline zero. Okay? That means when you're a polarity integrator as a monopole, like monatomic gold, hyperdrive baby, we have the license. We give ourselves permission to edit our own tours and field movies. Remember, if it is not what love is, it's not what I am. It's not the purest of light, purest of fire that is in that light. Okay? So when you realize, you're the gifter of electrons that go on forever gifting energy forever, right? Then if that's true, then you know that you don't need any energy from anybody else. As a matter of fact, you don't need anything from anybody else. You are, as a standing unit, as a monopole, in spirit with an oversoul, okay? The source from which it comes. Zero. You experience the eternal fire within you because your light is that pure, because you have that much love to give for everything that represents everything in creation, that is in creation, that is experiencing what love is through us. Us. The we. The one. So your flame is always lit on fire. So you have a spirit fire in you. So what happens here, so I sort of qualify my own statement. So for example, and this is where trust really does hit the pavement, okay? An example of that, even when Patty Broussard talked about med beds that were coming out. These meds are okay, these meds aren't. Oh, so you can trust one technology versus another. Depends on who you are. Now we're getting into what we call reliable sources from CNN. You know that they're not reliable. You want to run their movie set? You want to record what it is that they represent on your life book? No, I don't. Then erase CNN. You're not required to experience CNN, are you? This is where we get into the ultimate insult to energy that is on fire to create, which is experiencing hot stuff, the orgasm of creation itself, within your own heart and soul, led by spirit. So it's sort of like this when I was a child. I've mentioned this before, but it is true. Listen, if you want to write my book for me, here, take my journal and go off and write my story for me. Okay? Since you seem to think that you can do better than I can, then why don't you live your life for me and let me know how I'm doing while I sit aside on the sidelines in the bleachers all by myself, and then you can let me know how I did. What was going on in your life that was going on in mine that I didn't experience because you were experiencing what I am rather than me experiencing what I am. You're another. You're the other. Yeah, that's exactly right. So when you're already at that level at 4 years of age and you realize you're already a free spirit, you're not going to allow anything to hold you captive, you're going to say goodbye to anything that's trying to do that. Because the energy naturally flows that way. That's the law of least effort, because you are what love is. So that flow naturally takes you to places where you're no longer experiencing what that is, because you're with all the other living spirits that are in flow with you. That's like being with mama. That's like being with her mama. That's like being with all the mamas. That's like being with all the fathers. All the living spirits that are creating what we're creating as we're creating it, we're all creating it together as one, being one with what love is. That means we all grew up, but we never needed to grow up because we were already born out of what love is. Because that's what I experienced when I was a little kid. So it's the energy, the core vibration that represents what you are in energy, in spirit. So when you're on fire because you're experiencing that much love in your whole heart, now you're experiencing all the others. So now you're experiencing all the others I was with as a child, and I'm experiencing so many beings that have resistance against experiencing in their own heart. Wide open receiver, a cosmic level receiver, a cosmic level antenna, transmitting. Right? So I know what recruiters are. Most people know what a recruiter is. A job recruiter. Coming to work for us. Coming to work for us. That's a corporation. Corporations recruit. Jason Shirka is a corporate raider. Basically, Wall Street, that's what a raider is, right? Raiders of the Lost Ark. Although our arcs, my arcing sphere is not lost. Okay? So, in other words, wow, look at the technology. Whoa, that looks like they're doing great stuff. Oh, wow, look at the stuff that you're willing. Wow, this is going to improve. My life is going to get better and all the rest of that. Well, isn't that what they do? Look at the new gadget we got coming out. Just like Ford Motor Company. Just like Chrysler. Oh, look at the new model. Every year they would advertise. Oh, look at the new one that's coming out. And there wouldn't be a whole lot of change, but just enough to be able to advertise it to it. Oh, it's something new, a little different than before. How much does it cost? See, when I grew up as a child, you could buy a brand new 1957 Chevrolet with a 283, okay, which wasn't that big of an engine as engines go. I forget exactly how many horsepower it had, but if you had a standard transmission with a 4-speed, I had a friend of mine that had hybridized it, which means he took a stock engine and a stock 57 Chevy that had the real pointed fin in the back. And then he had it was a 283 bored out to a 327, and he had fuel injection. And then he had like a rear end on it that came out of a 400 something, I think it was a Chevrolet 409, the differential, so that it was geared to handle that many horses, because he could pull a lot of G's sitting in the front seat. If you weren't strapped in with an overstrap, you go through the windshield. Okay? Right? So this particular thing was easy maintenance and easy to put together and tear apart. But you could buy one of those off the showroom floor, brand new, if you were willing to work in high school. As a matter of fact, the first job I ever had, job codes. They code the jobs. Now you're into the program. They train you how to run the program. Now you're going to be working in a car wash. That was one of my first jobs. My first job was picking oranges for 32 cents a crate for Sunkist out in Orange County. Okay. Working with other, what were known as braceros, natives, picking oranges, Valencias, good stuff, right? But the point in all this is that you can see how it's a job market, markets, futures, past, future proofs past, see? So they're always about futures when there's always only really right now, which is the end of a circuit when the magnets on the planet open and close, how fast they open and close, what we're experiencing from one now-time moment to the next, how fast that's happening. So the more fire that we have in spirit, the faster we're vibrating, the less we're held captive to something that doesn't serve us. Why? Because it's slowing us down. Vibration. That's your Schumann. Okay? That's why it fell in negative magnetic space. So you know what a corporate raider is, right? He's got no energy to give you. Sign on the dotted line. Now you become part of our group. And look what we got. All these little toys because the technology we have access to. So just like when I was a kid, they impress you with your technology. Okay, so I already knew as a child, technology is the Achilles heel. You trust their technology? Do you know what they're doing? You know how they put it together? Now you're going to have to reverse engineer what they did in order to know that, unless somebody else told you don't use the technology. Hey, now we're back to trust issues. Well, maybe I should not go with these people because there's no telling what they may do. Because they can mask themselves because they're experts in psychological warfare. highly trained in psychological operations. You take some Wall Street guy like Shurka. Oh man, is this guy know how to run a script? Script writers, editors, torsion field editors. See, you want to run his movie with him? Corporation is a parasite by definition. Wall Street. Put another brick in the wall. They're inverted. That's why they rely on technology to extend themselves, see? And that's because they got nothing to give you. That's how you know the difference. That's how you know the difference between the one and the other.